Alright, imagine this. You just watched the most emotional movie of your life. The credits roll, the lights come back on, and suddenly, you realize, you're crying. Maybe it's a slow tear rolling down your cheek, or maybe you're full on sobbing. But here's the thing, why? Why do humans cry when we're sad, happy, frustrated, or even when we chop onions? Think about it, no other animal does this. Sure, some creatures produce tears for eye protection, but humans are the only species that shed emotional tears. So, what makes us different? Why did we evolve to cry? Today, we're diving deep into the science of tears, the psychology of crying, and why this strange human trait might actually be one of our greatest strengths. Let's start with the basics. What are tears? Before we talk about why we cry, let's break down what tears actually are. Tears aren't just water coming out of your eyes. They're a complex mix of water, oils, mucus, and even special proteins that help protect and nourish your eyes. And believe it or not all tears are the same. In fact, we have 3 different types of tears. Basal tears. These are the everyday tears that keep your eyes moist and healthy. They form a protective film over your eyeball and contain antibacterial enzymes to keep germs away. You're producing these right now, even if you don't realize it. Reflex tears. These are your defensive tears. They come rushing in when something irritates your eyes, like smoke, wind, or, yes, onions. Reflex tears help wash away irritants and keep your vision clear. And then we have the real mystery, emotional tears. These are the ones we shed when we're sad, happy, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Unlike the other 2 types, emotional tears have a different chemical composition. They contain more hormones, proteins, and stress-relieving substances. But why? And what purpose do they serve? Let's find out. The evolution of crying. Why did humans develop emotional tears? At first glance, crying seems like a weakness. Why would evolution favor a behavior that makes us vulnerable and drains our energy? But here's the twist, crying may have actually given our ancestors an advantage. Scientists believe emotional crying evolved as a form of communication long before humans had spoken language. Imagine being an early human in a tribe. If you were in pain or distress, but couldn't speak yet, how would you show others you needed help? Crying was a visible and audible signal that something was wrong. Even today, crying still serves as a social signal. Babies cry to let their parents know they need food, comfort, or protection. Adults cry to express pain, grief, frustration, or even joy, signaling to others that they need support or that something significant is happening. Studies have shown that when people see someone crying, they are more likely to offer comfort or assistance. So, in a way, crying actually strengthens human connection. It makes us more empathetic and helps us bond with others. The science of emotional tears. What happens in your brain? Alright, so we know that crying is a unique human trait. But what's actually happening in your brain when the tears start flowing? When you feel a strong emotion, whether it's sadness, happiness, anger, or relief, your limbic system, the emotional center of your brain, sends signals to your lacrimal glands, the tear-producing glands near your eyes. But here's where it gets really interesting. Emotional tears are chemically different from other types of tears. They contain stress hormones like cortisol, which means crying might actually help your body flush out stress. They also contain endorphins, which are natural painkillers, so crying can actually make you feel better after an emotional release. Scientists believe that by releasing emotional tears, our body is regulating our emotions. It's like hitting a mental reset button. Ever noticed how you feel exhausted but relieved after a good cry? That's because your brain releases oxytocin and dopamine, also known as the feel-good chemicals. It's your body's way of saying, alright, we got through that. Time to move on. Why do some people cry more than others? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to cry all the time, while others hardly ever shed a tear? Turns out, there are a few factors that determine how often someone cries. Biology. Studies show that women cry more often than men, partly because of hormonal differences. Higher levels of prolactin, a hormone linked to emotions, might make women more likely to tear up. Personality. People who are more empathetic and emotionally sensitive tend to cry more. On the flip side, people who are more stoic or reserved may cry less. Cultural differences. In some cultures, crying is seen as a sign of strength and emotional depth, while in others, it's seen as a sign of weakness. This affects how comfortable people feel expressing their emotions through tears. Personal experiences. People who have gone through trauma, stress, or intense emotional events may find themselves crying more often because their brain is more wired for emotional release. But here's the thing, there's no right amount of crying. Whether you cry a lot or hardly ever, it's just part of how your brain processes emotions. The spiritual meaning of tears. Beyond science, many cultures and belief systems attach deep meaning to tears. In some spiritual traditions, crying is seen as a form of cleansing, a way to release negative energy and purify the soul. Many religious practices view tears as a form of prayer, a direct expression of deep emotion to a higher power. Some believe that crying is a sign of spiritual awakening, where intense emotions bring clarity and personal transformation. Think about moments when people cry during music, religious experiences, or moments of deep love. It's as if tears become a bridge between the physical and emotional world, something science can't fully explain yet. Beyond just expressing emotions, did you know that crying might actually be good for your health? Research suggests that crying can lower blood pressure. Studies show that shedding emotional tears can help reduce tension and bring your body back to a more relaxed state. Improved mood. Crying triggers the release of endorphins and oxytocin, which can create a natural calming effect. That's why you often feel lighter after a good cry. Strengthen relationships. When we cry in front of others, it can create deeper emotional bonds. It signals vulnerability and trust, which encourages people to offer comfort and support. Some psychologists even recommend scheduled crying, intentionally setting aside time to let out built-up emotions. It sounds strange, but people who allow themselves to cry report feeling more emotionally balanced afterward. So, in a way, crying isn't just an emotional reaction, it's a built-in stress relief system. And instead of fighting it, maybe we should embrace it as part of what makes us human. Final thoughts. So, why do humans cry? Turns out, it's way more than just an emotional reaction. Tears protect and nourish our eyes, basal tears. They flush out irritants, reflex tears. And most importantly, they help us express deep emotions and connect with others, emotional tears. Crying isn't a weakness, it's a superpower of human connection. It signals when we need help, it helps us process emotions, and sometimes, it just feels really good to let it all out. So next time you find yourself tearing up, whether it's over a heartbreak, a beautiful song, or just because life is overwhelming, embrace it. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. And hey, if you found this fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more deep dives like this one. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.